Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Carr Clan podcast. Joined by my beautiful wife and me.
And you.
And me.
Shrek over here.
Yeah.
He's him.
And she's there. This is episode number 7. If you've stuck with us this long,
Congratulations.
or commiserations, one or the other.
Scoops for you.
Plenty of random crap to talk about today.
Yeah.
Diddly 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 dip, the Carr Clan! So what have you been up to this week?
Not a lot. I haven't done anything myself for ages. Oh, I tell a lie. I went on The Sims 2 for the first time in, months. Last time I went on there, I got myself pregnant because I was pregnant with Willow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how long it's been. About a year.
We
And I won't go on it now for a few months.
both had a little game yesterday.
Yeah, we did. It was quite nice, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we used to do back in the day, wasn't it? Just me watching you play games.
You make that sound like all I did was play games, but no.
It was. All you did was go to work and go on the, Xbox it was at first, when we first got together.
Yeah. We did have the Xbox, I remember. And we got rid of it because I wanted to play The Walking Dead, the Telltale Games one.
I think so, yeah.
But the version of the Xbox we had wasn't compatible with it. So we just sacked that off and just got the PS3. And then I played it on the PS3 and I hated the game and we got rid of it anyway.
Cost a fair whack back then as well.
I don't think it was that bad. It was like 200 and something, I think. And that was new from Asda.
I know, that's a lot of money to me, though.
You say? How much you spent on makeup brushes?
Not that much.
Okay, how much you spent on Jeffree Star?
Don't go to the palettes.
Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes. Just the Jeffree Star ones. How much you spent on moisturising face cream things?
Mm.
The last time you bought stuff from there was like 160 quid and you got 7 mil.
Yeah, but it's expensive stuff, isn't it, that?
Yeah, that was my point. It's expensive stuff that you keep buying.
That's lasted longer than the bloody PS3 did, though.
It hasn't. Had that years.
No, you die.
The only reason we got rid of it is because we probably was short on money, so flogged it.
We were poor.
Were.
Still are. Probably more poor.
We're financially poor, but we're not life enrichment poor.
What do you mean?
We don't have our own house and a big expensive car,
No.
but we have a lot of family adventures and we have a good time. And even if we don't have a lot of money, it's not necessarily something we need.
No. It depends what your view on life is, really. Because I know there's a few people that think we were stupid to do things the way we did.
Yeah, of course there are. But then you say that, I think people are stupid doing the way things they're doing.
Mm.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of money, but we've got 3 fantastic kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that are like, oh no, you've got to go and have a career and do that. Well, we wouldn't have the kids if we did that.
No.
And I'll take the kids over the money every time.
Mm.
So...
And I have a career, and it's still shit money.
It's only because you never go. It's because of your work mentality on it, though, I suppose. If you were like one of them nutter doctors that do like 80-hour weeks, you'd be on real good money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're on what your average person is on for doing a full week, and you do 2 days. Granted, they're 12-hour shifts, but it's 2 days. You're on probably more money than I am doing 4 10-hour days.
It's a job that, like, if you mess up, you can go to jail.
Should be on a lot more money. I'm not denying that you should be on more money, but at the same time, you're not on bad money, really.
No, I'm not on bad money considering the hours, but considering you have to pay to do my job.
That's something that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You've got to pay us every year to be allowed to work.
Yeah.
It doesn't make... That should just be covered by the NHS.
What have you done this week?
Physically, not a great deal. Just work. The family outings. But decided I'm going to try and follow a sport. I've never followed a sport.
Didn't you follow roller derby?
I played roller derby.
Yeah, but you followed it first, didn't you?
No.
Oh.
I saw one thing about it and I was like, oh, there's one. I think it was an advert before it just popped up on Facebook.
Oh.
And I went and played it a bit.
A bit?
I've never followed the sport really. Yeah, even when I was skateboarding, I barely watched the skateboarding.
So what sport are you following?
The old NFL, which is American football.
Why?
It's just a cool thing to do at the minute, innit? Everybody's having a go. They've actually started playing in Wembley, I want to say, Wembley Stadium.
Have they?
Yeah. I can't remember. One of the American teams are using that as their home ground, or at least they were like 2 years ago. I was going to do it last year, and you know what I'm like. If I'm going to do something, I'm diving in head first and doing it. There's no like pussyfooting around and just dipping my toes in the water. I'm just going straight in. But then I was looking at it, and as I said, the way I am, I'm going to jump in feet first and go all out on it. You know, obviously you've got to pick a team. And I was going to go with the Dolphins, which is the Miami Dolphins are the ones that are in Ace Ventura, purely for that reason. I was looking at their merch, and second-hand jerseys were like 70, 80 quid. So I didn't do it. And like I say, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly. I want to have a jersey and I want to buy a hat and all that jazz. And then when we was in the charity shop, found a jersey. And I was like, there we go. So I didn't pick my team picked me. That's the way that one worked. And then I've just been nerding out on it a bit. I found a podcast about the team and everything that's gone on. And I went back to before the draft, which is basically when they pick their player, like pick new players.
Yeah.
And listened to that and listened about the players that teams wanted and all that kind of stuff. And then the draft of what they got, and then pre-draft. So I haven't quite caught up in terms of listening to the podcast as to where we are at the moment, because they're just playing pre-season now, which is essentially warm-up games. But the podcast is just to the start of boot camp, which is the start of training. So that's how far I've caught up with that. But I'm nerding out on it a bit and I'm enjoying it. It's not something I've ever done before. People keep trying to talk to me about like football, as in normal football. And I'm like, literally the last time I really watched any football, apart from when we watched the Euros the other day, and that was one game of the whole thing. Michael Owen played for Liverpool and David Beckham had curtains. Like, that was the last time I watched football. So yeah, I'm just enjoying it.
Fair enough.
Go Chargers. And then as a family, went to Wonderland again.
Yeah, we used our free return ticket.
It was a good day.
Definitely better weather-wise.
But they didn't have the mascot, so Willow didn't
No,
get
they
to
didn't,
lose
did
her head.
they? That was
We
a
did
shame.
have a funny moment where they had the same actress playing a different character.
Yeah. So when we went last week,
It was
the
Queen of
woman
Hearts.
was playing the Queen of Hearts, and this week she was Snow White.
And the first thing Riley did was went, "You're the Queen of Hearts." And she just went, "Well, that's a hard one to explain." Completely broke her because she just went, "Oh, damn it." And Riley got up on the stage and did the tongue twister.
Oh yeah, and failed.
It's harder than you think.
Yeah, Maggie tried to do it a couple of days ago.
And you tried to do it the other day.
I did do it.
You did not.
I did.
You said the wrong things. So the
One
tongue.
smart fellow.
So yeah, I was gonna say. So the tongue twister is, one smart fellow, he felt smart. Two smart fellows, they felt smart.
Yeah.
Three smart fellows, they felt smart, and they all felt smart together. That took serious concentration. I was having to tap it out on my leg to even get close. And
Even in my head, I said smelt.
yeah, you have to try and say it faster. So everybody listening, have a go. Tell us how you did. Send us a video of you trying to do it as quick as you can. It's great fun for the kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as they go, smell fart, lose their heads. The thing is, even the parents are like crying, laughing.
I know. It's quite cool that the Mad Hatter especially knows who Riley is now.
Yeah. They're going to know him even more when we get these yearly pass things.
Yeah. They really should advertise it on their website.
Yeah.
Because they don't at all.
Yeah, we only know about them because I just asked them.
Yeah.
I was like, last year we came 4 times, which would have paid for the passes.
Yeah.
And a little bit. I think it's purely because you can only do it there. You can't do it online anyway.
Yeah.
And then they just don't have anything up with their prices there anyway. Like there's no menu or whatever you want to call it on the side that says child entry this much. Things kids have said. You got anything?
No.
I got one.
Go on then.
I was on the way home today from picking Riley up from Nanny's. I was driving in the car, driving along, and Riley went, "I love you, Daddy."
That's very unusual for him.
Why are you butting in?
Because it is.
He went, "I love you, Daddy." And I went to look over to him to say, "I love you too, bud." And he went, "Even if I do think you smell." I was like, shit. So I remember he was driving this car. Like,
Oh, is that why you said you were going to kick him?
Yeah. That's the way he said it. I was literally about to go, "Love you too, buddy." And he just went, "Even if I do think you smell."
It's like in that video of when we went to Howden Hill. And Hunter was in the back of the car. And Riley went,
He really loves Daddy.
somehow.
Some reason.
Yeah, so somehow.
Was it somehow?
Yeah. A guardian full of love.
Straight back.
He's just very open, isn't he? Very to the point. Quite brutal, really. Although they both always say that they love me the most.
Willow doesn't though.
No, she doesn't. But today was the first day in like a month that she's like let me cuddle her and go to sleep.
To fall asleep on you.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm scared to pick her up because she just instantly goes,
I know. It's not nice.
It's lovely.
There was a very, very, very small inkling of me today that was like, oh, maybe I could have another baby.
Really? Well, you can't, but...
I can't now, but it was just very, very tiny. The video of when we had her came on YouTube, because it just plays through them, doesn't it? And like seeing her as a little tiny baby again, I was like, oh, I want that again. Because she's not like that anymore. She's so advanced already.
If you could guarantee that we would have a boy, I'd be happy to have another baby tomorrow. But there's no guarantee that we would have a boy.
It's not just that, it's that I couldn't, and my body wouldn't hack having another baby.
No. If you were pregnant, I wouldn't be, oh, I'm not having a girl. But for me to be like, yeah, let's have another baby, I would like you to guarantee it was a boy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like if you got pregnant and it wasn't planned and it was a girl, I'd be happy. But to plan to have a baby, I'd want it to be a boy. And not because I don't like the girls. But
and it's because you wanted a boy this time, isn't it? And then we'd have 2 of each.
yeah, well, it's more that we'd have 2 of each. I wanted a boy this time just because I wanted to call it Ronnie Rhino.
Moving swiftly on.
Diddly 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 dip. The Carr clan.
Moaning at each other.
At each other.
Yeah.
You can go first. I went first last week.
This isn't one that like annoys me as much as the others, but it still gets on my nerves quite a lot. Because it's not just you that does it.
Okay.
It's pretty much everybody that does it.
Okay.
So everybody that does this, stop it. When you get off the sofa, or when you've been sat on the sofa for a while, you push the sofa seats forwards so there's a big gap at the back, but you never put them back when you get up. So I have to lift up the back pillows and push it back so I can sit on it properly, because I hate it when it does that, because when you lean on the edge, there's nothing under there to support you, so you fall off.
Are you ready to get absolutely ruined right now?
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm.
You just did a classic problem that I've had with you previously and use never when it's not never at all. And also within that statement, you straight up lied, because I will be sat on the sofa, comfortable with where it is, and you will be like, you've got to put that back, even if you're in the kitchen doing washing up or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not even about the fact that you don't like it there when you come to sit on it and people get up. People will be sat on it and you will just kick off.
It's not just because of that.
What do you mean it's not just because
It's
of that?
not just because...
The other day, I was sat on it nice, comfortable, feeding Willow, and you came in and just went, get up. I went, what? And you went, get up. So I stood up, and you put the thing back on, and then you went, there you go, and then you just pissed off again.
It gets on my nerves.
It can get on your nerves.
It's like an OCD thing with me.
Don't look at it.
I can't not look
You're
at it.
not sat on it, so it's not your problem. If you were sitting on it, then fair enough, but you're not. You weren't even there. You literally just come over to me and went, get up.
Okay, but with times where I'm sat on like the big bit and you're sat on the smaller bit and that's come forwards, it's actually like obstructing leg space, and you still don't let me move it then.
It's obstructing leg space by like this
No,
much.
it's not. It hangs off by at least a good foot.
You're like, for anybody that can't see, it's like 2 inches.
No,
it's like a good foot and then open around up to about 2 feet.
But could you just not do it?
If the sofa slides forwards, it's just what it does naturally.
I know.
And if that's where it sits and then it's comfortable, then that's where it's sitting. I'm not going to keep putting it back, because if I keep putting it back, I'll be getting up every 2 minutes to push it back.
Yeah, but like, no, I
and it
mean
won't
like
be
when you get
comfortable.
up and you walk off, can you please push it back? Because you don't do it all the time.
I don't do it all the time.
You most of the time don't do it.
That's not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
It is.
It's
because
not.
when I go over to that chair, I'm like...
That'll be the kids jumping on it more
It's
than
not.
anything.
It's when you've literally just got up and walked off. Most of the time it's because you're not wearing any trousers. I don't know why.
I very rarely don't wear trousers downstairs.
Or maybe it's because you're wearing shorts. But your legs are very bare.
Normally, if I'm getting up and going anywhere for a period of time, things get put back, including the pillows. But you started this whole thing with a perfect example of a previous problem with you, of going, you never put that back. And then even at the end here, you've gone, you don't
Yes,
always.
but even when you mentioned that before, I was like, it just means a majority.
But even it's not even a majority.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
I'm
Some
going to
things,
count every single time you don't do it.
and I'll count every single time I do it. And at the end of a day, we'll weigh them up.
But it can't be a day, it's going to have to be like a week, because...
Like you could remember what
I
number.
remember.
You probably couldn't remember
I'd
what
write it
number
down on
you
my
got to
notepad.
last hour.
I'll write it down on my notepad.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. What's yours with me then? Come on.
You keep making me move off the sofa when I'm sitting on it comfortable to push the seat back in.
That's not the one you had stored in your head.
No, the one that I've got at the minute. You can't be happy. If we're going to do anything that's nice, you have to have a problem straight off the bat.
No.
You do?
No, you make that sound like I do it on purpose.
It comes
I don't.
across like you're doing it on purpose.
But I don't.
Everything will be fine until we're going to do something nice. And then suddenly you're like, this thing that's been there for 6 weeks is now a problem. Like...
No, that's just because several little things have built on top of each other and I've just gone, right, I can't take it no more.
But you always do it just before we're going to do something nice.
Not always.
And you do. When was the last time we did something that didn't start with us getting in the car with me and you in a mood with each other?
Well, the only time we've got in the car being moody was the last 2 times we've been to Wonderland.
And when we went to Butlins, because you were in a mood because you wanted to leave 10 minutes before we actually got in the car. And you were in a mood because I was on the toilet and hadn't got my shoes on or anything. And then when I got off the toilet, I came down, put my shoes on. You weren't even remotely ready. The kids weren't ready. Nothing was ready, despite the fact that you had had a full-blown shout at me up the stairs because I was taking too long and I needed to get my shoes on. And I just went and sat in the car for ages and left you lot in the house because I was like, I'm sick of being made out to be the person that everybody's supposedly waiting for, yet I'm the first one actually ready. And then you got pissed off at me because I didn't help you with doing things that still needed doing.
Rightly so.
Don't have a go at me, making out like I'm the one everyone's waiting on, when actually everybody's waiting on.
You're the one that takes the fucking piss with getting ready with stuff.
But I'm not.
Because you do your hair and you do your smelly shit and all that. You're worse than a woman, you are.
That's not even remotely true, though.
It is true.
It's really not.
It is.
9 times out of 10, I don't do anything. Just put some clothes on and we go out.
It was when we were going to Wonderland the other day. I was downstairs getting everybody else ready because I don't
you
do
gave
myself.
the kids some breakfast.
No, I did everything. What you did upstairs was fanny about with your hair.
I got up.
Fanny about with your
woke
clothes.
myself up.
Fanny about with your spray. And I was downstairs rushing around like a blue arsefly.
You were not rushing around like a blue arsefly.
I fucking was. You weren't there.
Liar.
You don't know.
Liar. I came downstairs and you were just sat on the sofa.
No, I was not.
You were too. You were feeding Willow. So don't
I wasn't just sat on the sofa then, Willow. Was I?
But I had a horrendous night with Willow. And I was making myself feel like a human. Because otherwise, we weren't going anywhere. Because I would have crashed the car into the lamppost trying to get off the drive.
We don't have a drive.
The bit where we park. The pavement.
Alright. What do you want me to be happy then?
I want you to be happy. When we're going to have a nice day, just have a nice day.
I was due on.
That's a bullshit excuse.
It's not a bullshit excuse.
It is. All you women using I'm on my period as an excuse for being a mardy bitch. It's acceptable the first, 7 or 8 times, because you don't know what's going on.
I didn't know I was coming on. I don't have periods properly anymore, do I?
Grown-ass woman, you've had lots of periods.
And also,
Control your emotions.
my hormones are all over the fucking place because I've had my tubes done.
Hormones is a horrendous excuse.
It is not.
I will not
Try
accept
being
it.
a woman who goes through PMS.
So, a teenage boy that's going around kicking shit out of things.
PMT. Yeah, PMT.
PMS.
What's PMS?
Premature tension. PMS is... I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but it's PMT.
I know what MSP is, but not PMS. It's Microsoft Paint.
Alright, I'll try and be happier. But if you didn't piss me off, I would be happy.
I don't have to do anything to piss you off, though. That's the thing. I'll stay at your way and you'll get pissed off.
That's the point, when you don't do things that I expect you to do.
There's the big difference. I don't expect you to do anything. You just expect me to do
you just automatically assume that it'll be done.
No, I don't. That's.
So you did not assume that I would feed the kids or
no,
get
I
them
did not
dressed
assume
or
that you would
anything
feed
like
the kids.
So what did you assume I would be doing?
I knew that's what you were doing. I didn't assume you would be doing it or expect you to do it. I just knew that's what you were doing. That's not assuming. That's knowing that you are.
Why did you know that that's what I was doing? Because I never said I was going to do it.
Because you went down with the kids and I knew that's what you would be doing. There was no assumption or expectation.
Okay.
I don't ever expect you
From
to
now
do
on,
anything.
when we go on a day out, you are going to do everything.
Okay.
And I will fanny about with my hair.
So from
and
now
my
on,
spray.
when we go
my
out,
clothes.
from now on, when we go out,
Kevel.
you can drive the family for the hour there and the hour back.
I don't drive, so I can't do that.
Exactly. You might sort things out here, but I get us to the places.
That's
and
got
I
nothing
take...
to do with
So
anything.
yes, it is.
No, it ain't.
It is because you do. Okay, we get up in the morning. You do an hour of dealing with the children, for example. Yeah. I do an hour of driving us there and an hour of driving us back, and I have to do that job. Nobody else can do that job. It's not just it is expected of me, but there's nobody else that can do that job. And it is a job. Otherwise, you're saying that lorry drivers and delivery drivers aren't actually doing a job because they're driving.
So you're going to start sitting properly on the sofa?
No.
I'm not going to be happy then.
If it moves, it moves. I don't make it move, but if it moves, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm comfortable. I'll make myself not comfortable for a bit and it'll move again anyway. I'll sit where it is. When it goes too far and I'm not comfortable, then I'll put it back and we'll start again. We need to get some Velcros. That's sorted out.
Yeah, if we get some fabric glue and some thick Velcro strips, should be good, but they need to be like machine washable as well.
Just sew them on.
Another job for me.
But it's a job for you to stop a thing that you have a problem with. It's not a job for you to fix a thing that I have a problem with, because it doesn't bother me.
Well, what job can I fix for you that you get on my nerves with?
What do you mean?
Basically, you're the problem. How do I fix you?
How do you fix me?
Yeah.
Lots of blowjobs. Happy husband, happy house.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah,
you
I
need
know.
to start doing things that make me happy.
I do, but nothing makes you happy. That's the problem.
A lot of things make me
If
happy.
something makes you happy, you have to be in a mood before it. Because you're like, hang on, I'm going to be happy in a minute. Let's balance out the day.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's my whole beef with you this week.
Diddle 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 did the Carr clan. Don't call me an idiot.
Oh. Okay. So, number one.
Wait, number one. You have one.
No, that's not
Yeah.
how this works. Don't call me an idiot. It's just stupid things you do. This isn't a problems issue.
Come on then.
Number one is a follow-on from last week. Because you did the same shit again. Where you just decided that what you thought was the case and then got surprised when there was something going on. So we bought pizzas this week. Look at your face going. And even when we bought them, I specifically said to you, can I have one of these ones because I've got a stuffed crust? Which you just ignored. So then you got your pizza and you were eating it and then you were like, oh my god, there's cheese in the crust. Which sounds, okay, get away with that. That it might be a nice little surprise that you've got some cheese in your crust. Apart from the fact that the flavour was in like the 1/4 and probably only took up 1/4 of that quarter. And then the bit that said stuffed crust was like completely across the top of the top half. And you were surprised that it had stuffed crust. Because you just did your classic, I've seen that bit that's information that I want. The rest of it is irrelevant to me. You could have said on that one, extremely spicy again. And you'd have just been like, yep, that's fine for me. Says the flavour in the bottom that I like. And then number two. Don't say anything. Have you worked out what it is? Have you
No.
remembered what it is?
No.
Number two. Now, I'm not going to say... Don't say anything. Okay, for a minute. Right. I'm not going to say the first name. Because you'll be able to work it out. But if I say... Mr. Buchanan... Who do you think we're talking about? When I say Mr. Buchanan? Mr. Buchanan.
This is just an honest mistake. You can't include this.
This is being an idiot. That's the whole point. It doesn't. That's what makes it an idiot. An honest mistake. Mr. Buchanan. So, I'll give you enough time. If you haven't worked it out, Neil Buchanan. That's who she was on about. Trying to tell me that they still think he's Banksy.
Well, I've never heard his second name before.
I said the guy from Heart Attack. It's Neil Buchanan. And you were like, no, it's Buchanan. It's Buchanan. It's Buchanan. So none of the syllables were correct. Buchanan. I've been laughing about it all day at work today.
Oh, you told people.
I haven't told anybody. I've just been standing there just giggling to myself and saying Buchanan. Mostly so I could remember it for today. But also just because I enjoy it. And I've been calling him Mr. Buchanan.
Dilly, 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 dilly.
Did you talk to Ellen about the podcast?
Yeah, very, very briefly. And technically he did send a question, although it's not really a question that's for this.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you and see what you say, and just tell me what you think of the statement anyway. So his question is, can I come live with you and Kelda for a week? I imagine it would be the most entertaining thing in the world.
You'd be very disappointed.
You would. So disappointed.
You'd feel awkward within a few hours.
Yeah, be like, yep, I'm done here. We'll go.
If I sneak out the front door while they notice that I'm gone.
I regularly think that.
To be fair, if you stayed here...
The moment in your face then. Oh, that is so good.
To be fair, the kids would just... They wouldn't let you have a word in edgeways with anything, to be honest. You would be their entertainment, not the other way around. Alan.
I'm sure he's bored of that already.
I'll never be bored of that.
Riley would love it, because he's a wrestler.
Yeah. Was it a genuine question?
Does he... I don't think he wants to come live with us for a week for real.
Is he married?
Think he was, but then he's not, I think.
Okay.
I think. I might be wrong, but I think.
Do you have any stories?
I've got a question that'll lead into a story, but I want you to answer the question first, and then I'll follow up with my story based on the answer to the question that I'm asking you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
We'll recap. I'm going to ask you a question that I have an answer for, but I'm going to ask you the question first to get your answer, and then I will give you my answer in the form of half a story.
Okay.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No, I don't think so. Not intentionally, anyway.
Okay. What do you mean not intentionally? That's still getting knocked out if it's not intentional. I don't think anybody's intentionally gone, knock me out. Well, they probably have, because there's weird people like that.
Having drugs and stuff in hospital.
Oh, you mean just...
Yeah.
Being being zonked from being on drugs. Well, not drugs, being on medication.
Yeah, drugs.
Yeah, but drugs makes you sound like Amy Winehouse. Whereas...
I take it you have.
I don't think I've ever actually been knocked out, but I've come very, very close one time, and it was really weird. I don't think it's there anymore. It's when I was skating. The old skate shop, which I believe the skate shop's there, which was Ideal in Birmingham, was originally on Corporation Street, and then it moved to... what's it called? The Custard Factory. It moved to there, and on the back of it was a little unit, and in there they had a ramp. The ramp had got two heights. There was one that was like 4 foot and one that was like 5, maybe 6. I do a trick called a Miller flip, which is basically a backflip, but you sort of spin 360 and put your hand down as you do it. And it's one of those things that it looks really impressive, but to me it's like riding a bike. I could probably get on a skateboard now and 2 or 3 goes and I'll land it. So it's a trick I can do, you know, just as comfortably as anything else. And I was working on it and getting it higher and higher up the ramp, because if you can get it up so it's onto the coping, which is the metal bar across the top of the ramp, it then becomes a different trick and is a better trick. So I was working on it and I was like getting so close, and I went up. I was getting to the point where like the top of my hand was touching the bar, but it wasn't really counting, because you need to put your hand on the bar properly, and just I don't even know what you'd call that bit.
The base of your palm.
Yeah, like literally just above my wrist was touching it. And I was like, come on. So I went for it, and as I went up, I saw it and I was like, I've got this. And I jammed my hand down to grab hold of the bar, and as I did, it just dislocated my thumb. Put my thumb up my hand, and my hand slid straight down the ramp. Because I was so determined to do it, it was like I was trying to knock somebody out. I was swinging my hand that hard down. Like I jammed it straight down to grab hold of the coping. I was like almost celebrating before I'd even got my hand on it, because I knew it was doable that go, because of how high I'd come out the ramp. and as I jammed my hand down, my thumb just dislocated. So then my thumb was pointing up my arm, so my hand slid down the ramp. But you gotta bear in mind, I'm going with backflip motion with spin in it, and I swung my temple straight into the metal bar that I put my hand on first. And when I did that, I slid down the ramp, and I was on my back as I slid down the ramp, and I was looking up, and I was like, fuck. First of all, it was my thumb. Like, I knew I got weak thumbs anyway from previously skateboard instances where I've decided I didn't want to do it, but my brain didn't tell my feet. And then I pinged the board up and did exactly the same thing to my thumb. So I was like, my thumb. And then the only way I can describe it is like the end of an old Warner Brothers cartoon. You know when Porky Pig comes and says, that's all, folks. And it like goes, like it zoomed right down, and it was like I was looking through something the size of a 5p. That was how small my vision thing went, and I knew what was happening. I was like, shit, I'm getting knocked the fuck out here. And as it went down, it got to about the size of a 5p, and I managed to swing myself over. So then I was then on all fours, and as I did that, the vision just went and opened straight back up again, and I could see fine again. I just managed to stop myself. I think if I'd have stayed there thinking about my thumb for like another second, I'd have gone. I got back on my board and I was like, I've got to do it again, because if I don't, I'm going to be scared of it. So I went for it again and just kept going back to here because I was scared of putting my thumb on because my thumb was killing me. Like the getting knocked out, I was over that. That just happened while it happened. It was scary when it happened, and then it was done. But my thumb was killing. And then I went home, went to have a bath, took my kit off, took my socks off, and my whole foot was purple. Where I'd hit my head that bad, I hadn't even noticed I'd done it. But as I'd come down, my foot had booted that top coping as well. And I'd completely broken my toes and everything.
Oh my God.
And I'd carried on skating with a broken, that whole section was just purple. Everything apart from my little toe and about halfway to my ankle, all of that was purple. I didn't even know I'd done it, even when I got home. It was only when I got out of the bath and my body had all relaxed, and then I was like, I can't walk. I got another story. Do you want another story? Do you want one more?
Go on then.
I want to do this same format.
You want to fart?
Yeah, I want to fart. No, I said I want to follow it up. I want to do the same format.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to tell you my answer to that story.
So your answer was kind of...
Yeah, it was kind of. I rescued it before it happened.
Alright, go on then. What's this one?
Have you ever had a moment where you were convinced...
Oh my God. I've just thought I did nearly get knocked out. Well, or fainted. It was when I was a student in college, not even in uni.
Okay.
And I was on the maternity ward. Well, I was only allowed there for a week. And I was going in to watch...
Is it because you kept nearly getting knocked out?
No, they only let college students in there for a week. And this woman was having a caesarean done.
Yeah.
And all I saw was this cannula going around. And exactly what happened to you, it went like that, all the black. And I was like, I'm going to pass out, I need to sit down. But then it started to come back slowly because I'd sat down.
Yeah. Oh, mine didn't come back slowly at all. Mine just went... like the start...
It's really weird, man.
Like the start of a movie. You know, like when you go to the cinema and it does the whole thing with the Statue of Liberty on, it's like...
Yeah.
And then it goes black and then instantly comes with the film on the screen. It was like that. It was like it just went...
I was so angry when it happened to me. Because I was like... it didn't, like, freak me out or anything. I mean, I'd seen people have needles and... I'd seen a baby delivered by that point. But it was just weird. Like, it stayed like that for ages whilst I was sat down. But then you can still hear what's going on and everything. It was like, this is so weird. But it stopped me from being able to go and see a caesarean. I managed to see one the next day, luckily. So the answer is yes, actually. Sort of, as well. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Have you ever had a moment where you were convinced something was real that's very clearly not real? As in, you were convinced that a monster existed or something along those lines. I mean, in real life, it is happening and you're like, fuck, this is a monster. And then it's not.
Ghosts?
Yeah, but some of those probably are.
That's it for me, just like ghost shit happening, because that happens a lot.
I got a fun one for you.
Okay.
I genuinely thought it was the day I die. Back, we're going a fair way back now. I'd probably been maybe 19, 20. Used to go and hang out with Twig all the time.
Mm.
And I think I've done it a couple of times since we've been together. But we used to go and explore places.
Yeah.
We stopped doing it because I don't do it no more. Because it's my turn to fall down a hole. The story I'm going to tell is a different one. But this is also a time when I was convinced shit was going down. The first story, well, the first part of that story is we went to go to this one place and we were walking back through a field. And it was me, Twig, and our friend Carl. Me and Twig were at the front and we were walking along and we just heard this noise. Turned around and Carl was gone. We were like, shit, where's he gone? Looked down, the grass was like waist high around, and then there was a bit where people have obviously walked their dogs through and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is the bit we were walking in. We turned round, where the fuck's he gone? Looked down, and he's in a hole that he managed to catch himself. And so all there is his shoulders and his head sticking up out the floor. We ran over, helped him up out this hole, looked down, and it was a manhole that went into like a storm drainy type thing that was underneath.
Yeah.
So below him was like a 10-foot drop down into a storm drain. Somebody put like a wooden sheet over it, but the wooden sheet had rotted, and he'd just been the straw that broke the camel's back. So me and Twig had both walked over it.
Yeah.
And then he walked over it, and it just went under his weight, and he just went woof. So that was the first time. Then me and Twig went to go on an adventure in an old railway tunnel over Dudley by the zoo.
Yeah.
So it's a bit that's not used, and hasn't been used. I don't think it's connected to anything in any way, shape or form. There's trees growing in the train track. So it's not like we're being stupid and playing on the rails before anybody starts moaning. So there's this whole tunnel, and we started walking through it, and there's a slight bend in it, but it's got that weird thing that you get in caves where the light reflects. So even though you actually go round a corner, you can still see the light at the end of the tunnel down that end. But you get to a point where a third of the way in until you're a third of the way left, where it's actually pitch black where you are, but you can see the light at each end. So we're walking there, and we always try not to use torches and stuff because it's just a bit more fun. Like, you let your eyes settle to it and you see what you can see. We're walking along, and Twig was like by the side of me like you are, so I can just about see him because your eyes are settled. So as long as you don't look directly at the light at the end of the tunnel, you can see in the tunnel a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm walking with him, chatting to him, and suddenly Twiggy just disappeared. It's like, where the fuck's he gone? And you got to bear in mind, we're in this dark, scary tunnel that's got little noises going on in it anyway, because there's probably a rat run, so you heard something scurry, and then that echoes through the tunnel as well. So we're walking along, and then Twiggy just went. And I was like, where the fuck's he gone? Looked around, he's nowhere. And then I heard him go, little help, and I looked down and he'd gone down a hole by the side of us. So he got up out of this hole, and we were like, shit, right, just stay actually on the track itself, because what it was a maintenance cover that was between the two tracks.
Yeah.
So we were like, just stay on the tracks. We got out, we went all the way through the tunnel, and then on the way back through, we were like, put the light on and have a look. But at that point I was convinced, like when he disappeared, I was convinced it was like the Descent. I was convinced it was like the Descent, and some weird little creature would just fucking, because it was the way he went. Like you can only see the silhouette of him.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that he went down. He was there, and then he just wasn't. So I was like, I nearly just started running. Like, I was like, put this somehow.
Poor Twiggy.
But on the way back through, this is the bit that makes no sense. We put the torches on to have a look at the bit down the middle. And we found the bit where he fell down. You see how tall Twig is? Yeah? The hole he fell down was literally like 3 foot deep. But Twig had managed to fall in such a way that he was in the same position as Carl, like to his arms. Don't know how he done it. He must have gone down and then put his legs out into the into the chute. So he was like, ugh. But yeah, we found it and it was literally like 3 foot deep. But as far as Twig was concerned, it was a 40-foot drop under there because he didn't touch anything as he'd gone down as well. So that was a moment where I was like, oh, monsters. But then we went on another adventure where I was convinced we were going to die and monsters were real. It was underneath Birmingham. You can get in the storm drains. You can literally travel underneath Birmingham. You can go from the custard factory all the way over to the mosque and come out there, and there's a bit that leads kind of Broad Street direction. So we were going under there, and it's mostly for the graffiti, because a lot of the graffiti artists go down there to practice, because nobody gives a shit if you put some graffiti in a tunnel that nobody ever goes in. So they'll go down there and practice. Some of the graffiti down there is amazing. Like, so good. So we were having a walk along, and we're going through. We've gone through this one bit that goes under all the factories, and you can hear them, because you've got all like the water systems that come from like the factories and everything. You can hear stuff going on in the factories and what have you. And we come out, and there's a bit where it's like in between one set of factories, and then there's like a section where you can see up in the sky, and then you go back underground again. As we started to go underground, we heard this noise, and I don't know how to describe it. It was like a banshee. It was like a scream, like a blood-curdling, screamy kind of noise, but half laugh kind of noise at the same time. And it come out of the darkness, and we just backed up. We were like, fuck, what the fuck's that? And it went again, and it was louder and scarier. I was like, fuck. And you heard it thrashing through the water, because you're in the storm drain. So you've got, the storm drain's probably 40 foot wide, maybe bigger. So they're not small storm drains, they're massive. Or not quite as big as the one in Greece, you know, that they're racing in the cars. Think of a miniature version of that. But it's still, you know, still like 40 foot wide. Yeah. So then you've got all the water down the middle, and there's path bits up the side. It had been raining, so the water section was a bit wider than normal. And you could just hear this thrashing through the water. I was like, shit, we're going to die. Somebody's flushed a crocodile down here, and it's fucking mutated with all the Birmingham waste. We are dead. And just it's like, going through the thing. There's echoing through the things as well. And we were like, shit, pick up a fucking stick and just be like, shit, we're in trouble here. Out come a baby deer out of the darkness. A deer had fell into the storm drains and then just got lost in the tunnels, and that's what it was. It was a baby deer shouting for his mum, but it was running through the water as well. But it's not what you expect to find when you're down there. And because of the way the tunnels are, when you actually get into them, it was just echoing through as well. So every movement it made in the water was then echoing as well. So it sounded like these massive thrashes through the water. We steered the baby deer out, and there's a bit where you can basically get up on the bank, and it got up on the bank and it went off. But yeah, it was a absolutely terrifying moment where I was 100% convinced monsters were real, we'd found one, and we were gonna die.
And it was a baby deer.
And it was a baby deer. It was only a little thing as well. But then there was that follow-up moment where you were like, I've seen this in the horror movies. They get lulled into a false sense of security and then they die. But yeah, it was terrifying.
I'd have probably just curled up in a ball.
I think any of us would have if we'd have been on our own. but you're not allowed to do that when you're around other people. So I think we were just
fuck
like,
that. I'd have still done it.
we were just like,
I'd been
oh
like,
shit. We were standing
Fuck the
there.
lot of you.
We were standing there, just like, what the fuck do we do? Like full blown expecting some epic battle with a water monster from the sewers, and a little baby deer come out.
It's not fucking Goosebumps.
It felt like it was genuine. What would you think? You're walking under the
I don't know
under the
how it
underground
sounds.
under the undergrounds of a city.
Well, I wouldn't do that for starters.
No, but you are. That's
But,
what I'm saying. No. So now you
It's hard
are.
for me to imagine shit like that because I would never do it.
Why? Because it's already scary.
No, it's dirty and dangerous.
The Carr Clan. Right then, guys. Thank you for listening to episode 7 of the Carr Clan podcast. If you are watching us on YouTube, like the video, share it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go and watch all of our other videos as well. Drop us some comments, answer any of our stories, and send us a link to a video of you trying to say, one smart fellow, he smart fart. No, felt smart. See? Unless you're thinking about it, it's so easy to do wrong.
Who's been him?
She's been there.
Bye.
Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Diddly 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 dip, the Carr Clan.